On the outside, second lane 1 and Witherspoon in lane 7 got off to a good start each, and they were 1-2 at the finish.
Almost a replay of what happened up in Los Angeles on Friday night. Look at Witherspoon, as does Carl Lewis and Kirk Baptiste. He doesn't worry about the start too much. He saves his energy for the second half of the race. Sec on the inside from Senegal, leading until the last 10 meters when Witherspoon, looking like Carl Lewis right down to the way he holds his hands, comes blowing by.
And when we take a look at the replay, it also appears that Emmett King, a late entrant, wound up third out of lane 5.
Witherspoon, watch him concentrate. Look at his head, barely moving, and he's got the good form that comes with working with guys like Carl Lewis and Kirk Baptiste. You just see Emmett King in the center of the track, who was out quick but faded in the last 20 meters. Witherspoon seems to be the find of the season.
Big weekend for him. 6.61 again is the unofficial clocking in the men's 60-meter dash here at the San Diego Indoor Track and Field Games. And, of course, coming up very shortly will be Greg Foster in the men's 60-meter hurdles. At the San Diego Sports Arena for the San Diego Indoor Track and Field meet, we have already seen the 60-yard dash. We saw Witherspoon win it. Sec was second, and Calvin Smith did get third, and Donna Deverone is with the winner. Donna.
Thank you, Al. And Marty LaCouri has called you the find of the season because of your sprinting ability. How much has it helped you to train with Carl Lewis and Kirk Baptiste?
Well, working out with Carl and Kirk, it's improved. I've improved so much, since college. It's incredible because I guess it's because of Coach Tom Tellez. He's the one who's helped me and coached me, and the other coach, Coach Mike Ciccona. So, working out with those guys has helped me a whole lot. So,
are we going to see in the 400 meters or the sprints?
The sprints.
I guess you like them a lot now. Congratulations. Now back to you, Al.
Okay, Donna. And again, Carl Lewis not here. Lewis biding his time during this indoor season. Another hot man during the indoor campaign, Marty, has been Lee McRae out of the University of Pittsburgh. But right now, let's turn our attention to the men's 60-meter hurdles, where Mark McCoy has the world mark, 7.47. Though Greg Foster did run that disputed 7.36 at the Sunkist Games in Los Angeles, he is in the field. Lane 4 is open. You have Parker, Caristan from France, and then Foster in lane 3. Roger Kingdom was the man who won the gold medal at the LA Olympics in '84. Tony Campbell is a two-time Olympian. Tony Day on the outside. Obviously, Foster the favorite. And then what about the rest of the field, Marty?
Well, Caristan is a dangerous man. He was second in the world last year. He's only 22 years old. And you have to remember the last man to take an Olympic medal away from the Americans' Olympic gold medal was also from France, and Guy Dreux. So he's a very dangerous man coming up now in the next 2 years. And Foster wants to use every opportunity to reassert that he and the Americans have owned this event for many years. As we're looking at Tony Campbell, member of our Olympic team in '80 and '84. This is a perfect setup for Foster now. He's on top of his game as never before. He's got an empty lane next to him, which is a big help. And he really could have had the record 2 nights ago, but he had one false start, so he sat in the blocks a little bit long, and he had tremendous poise in reeling the field back in.
And he wound up setting the American mark at 7.48. Foster in lane 3, and it's a false start, and it appeared to have been Greg Foster.
Well,
and so deja vu. Not only did we see Witherspoon win after he won Friday in L.A., but Foster false started.
Foster's life is a lot of pressure. I was going to make the comment that now that Nehemiah's back and he's beaten Nehemiah, the pressure's off on that. But anytime you get a world record indoors, that really means that you've timed the starter perfectly. He's going for a record. He tried to time the starter perfectly. He got caught. Now what does he do? If he wants the world record, he's going to have to do the exact same thing. And it's a little head game. The starter certainly has no interest in this. But they're each good. He's going to be watching Foster as he pulls his trigger on that gun.
If you're wondering about Nehemiah, by the way, he did have surgery on his heel. He is recuperating. He will begin training next week, and he hopes to be back in action sometime in May. Again, Foster in 3, Caristan in 2 is another man to watch, and the Olympic champion in lane 5. And again, a false start, and that time it was Caristan. So the two big men each have one false start. Caristan and Foster.
You know, even in the dashes, the start is very important. But in the hurdles, if you can get a jump, if you can be first over that first hurdle, you put a lot of pressure. And in the past, Greg Foster, when he has been behind, has pressed and hit hurdles. That was what was so impressive the other night. He got out in last place, but he was smooth. He didn't press. He didn't hit any hurdles. I think we'll see a good one this time because the two favorites feel that they both had their one jump. And the pressure and, of course, the odds of a record have just gone down about 60% after two false starts.
Again, the official mark, 7.47 Mark McCoy, and then there's Foster's pending 7.36.
Jump start on Roger Kingdom, the Olympic champion. I should bring up LaCourie's rule. Anytime a sprint race is live on national television, there'll be at least 3 false starts. That's more than I've seen the entire indoor season.
Like going into overtime. There is Kingdom. Roger came to the fore in Los Angeles. He was a surprise winner in the 110-meter hurdles, but that's been very much the highlight of his career. He has not come up to that level since.
No, he's had some injuries, but what an athlete. I know in the back of his mind he's thinking decathlon. The man's jumped 7 feet 1 inch. He's long jumped 25 feet. The only thing he can't do is the pole vault. Be very rare that anyone who's as good in one event like he is would go on to win an Olympic championship in the decathlon, but we have so many talented guys like him who give it some thought, and that slowed him down for a year or two. I think he's decided now his future's in the hurdles.
So Karastan, Foster, and Kingdom, the men who figure to finish 1, 2, 3, not necessarily in that order, have each had a false start. Again, Foster is in lane 3.
Let's see if Tony Campbell in lane 6 takes his.
No, this time it's a fair start, a pretty decent start for Foster, who has the lead, and it is Foster who remains unbeaten during the indoor season. Unofficially, it's 7.48, which would be 1/100th of a second off the existing world mark and will equal his American record established on Friday night. Greg Foster.
There was a lot of pressure here because everybody was taking those false starts, and that gets a lot of energy. Foster's in command of the race right from the start, in the center of the track. Karastan, as you see, going right with them, running a good race. And when they get outdoors, Karastan, the tall, lean one, is very good. But Foster's shown tonight, just as he has the entire indoor season, it's not even close. The thing about him this year is he's very smooth over the hurdles. He's not hitting them as much as he was in the past. He was strong enough in the past to hit hurdles and still run fast. His technique is better, and his concentration seems to be better. He's more relaxed now that Nehemiah is back.
Blanket finish for second. We'll have the results for you when we come back, but there is the winner. There's the order of finish now. Foster wins it, Karastan second, Campbell third. Officially, they have him at 7.47, which ties the existing world mark. Greg Foster with Donna.
Greg, you officially tied the world mark, and of course you have that pending, debatable record that you set at the Sunkist, 7.36. That start situation, did it remind you of the other night when there was a false start? Here there were 3.
Well, not really. I think the false starts eventually take the I guess, explosiveness out of the legs. I think that's what happened tonight. I think if it had been just the one false start, I think everything would have been a lot faster and a lot better.
It looked like you got a good start anyway.
Well, I got a good start. I think the other guys, they felt they had to hold back this time as well, and it allowed me to basically just concentrate on myself. I figured if anybody false started again, they would be out, and everybody had to hold back somewhere. Greg,
we interviewed you a lot during the Olympic trials and during the Olympics, and of course during the Olympic race you lost to Roger Kingdom, and then you've come back. You've changed. You feel, to me, more relaxed. What's changed you, do you think?
Well, basically, I hate to bring it up, but the tragic death of my mother, changed me a great deal. I feel like, I have nothing to lose anymore. I've lost everything as far as a big loss is concerned, and basically everything from now is just fun and games and try to come out here and be prepared to run well. And if I do, I'd be happy. If I don't, basically just go back to the drawing board and start all over again.
Certainly put everything in perspective. Thank you.
Thank you.
Back to you, Al.
Okay, Donna, we'll return shortly to San Diego, and we'll take a look at a mile run, which features Scott and Abascal and Walker. But right now, let's go back to New York and Frank Gifford.
Thank you very much, Al, Frank Gifford, and Becky Dixon in New York. And we picked a good time to be live in San Diego, Becky.
Greg Foster in a class by himself, Frank.
And maybe he's even getting better. Hard to believe. Well, 2 weeks ago, Mark Breland won the WBA version of the World Welterweight Championship. And today in London, England, the man Mark might one day fight to unify the welterweight title defends his IBF title Mark will be at ringside as Lloyd Hunnigan takes on challenger Johnny Bumpus. For more on the fight, let's go now to Jim Lampley and Alex Walu.
All right, thanks a lot, Frank. And, of course, since it is Hunnigan's first defense before his home crowd, the crowd here will be raucously and unanimously behind Hunnigan. Alex, very quickly, the significance of the fight for both fighters.
Well, I think for Lloyd Hunnigan, the significance of the fight is that it's an opportunity for him to convince the skeptics that he is for real. That when he beat Donald Curry for the welterweight title, it was not a fact of Curry being dead at the weight, but the most significant factor was that Lloyd Hunnigan is an outstanding all-around fighter. For Johnny Bumpus, this is it in terms of his boxing career. Either he wins the title, upsets the long odds, and comes away with the welterweight title, or he retires. According to Johnny and his co-manager Lou Duva, it's as simple as that.
It will be 15 rounds for the IBF version of the World Welterweight Championship coming up just a little later in Wide World. Now back to Becky Dixon.
We're ready for the mile now, which is normally the glamour event, and would certainly be the glamour event had Eamon Coughlin been here. He set a world mark in the 2,000-meter run at L.A. the other night, but because of a dispute with the promoter Al Franken, he is not. But he still holds the world mark, and the American record is held by Steve Scott, who lives in nearby Fallbrook, and he was among those who raced on Friday night, Marty, in Los Angeles. What about coming back and running back-to-back distance races within a span of 41 hours?
Well, it's tough, but of all the competitors, Steve Scott is probably one of the strongest, and in a situation like this, he gains a little on his competition in the second night. It wouldn't be beyond thinking that when he saw the race was lost, how hot Eamon Coughlin was in Los Angeles 2 nights ago, that maybe he cut back a little bit to save this one, which is in his own backyard.
There's Jose Abascal from Spain. Bronze medal at 1,500 meters in Los Angeles. And the biggest name, I suppose, because he's been around so long, would be John Walker of New Zealand, though it would be a major surprise were he to win this race today.
Well, it's always good to see John in a race, but like many athletes this year, he's looking forward to the World Championships in August in Rome, and that's kind of put a damper on the indoor season, as the athletes haven't been prepared to run twice in one weekend or to race too often and get in top shape this early in the year.
Walker, 35 years old, so he'll have Scott on the inside. Abascal had the lead most of the way in L.A. the other night, number 2, but he was beaten at the finish by the onrushing Marcus O'Sullivan. And there is O'Mara, Frank O'Mara from Ireland, who is capable of winning the race.
He certainly is. He had a chance to win it in Los Angeles, but he moved a little bit too late. Marcus O'Sullivan beat him to the punch. O'Mara is a great runner. It'd really be odd if the Irish could end up winning all 3 of the major races on this coast this weekend. But if he sits in behind Steve Scott and Abascal, lets them trade elbows a little bit over the last 3 laps, he could come flying off the last turn and really win his first major. I'm talking about O'Mara. This would be his first major win. He's run a lot of fast times at his home track in Arkansas. But that doesn't count much with guys like John Walker. They want to see him do it in the big time.
There he is, O'Mara. The rabbit figures to be Roland Whedon, who will start in lane 5. This track 160 yards to the mile, 11 laps of the track. And it's Abascal who moves into second place behind the man who did figure to be the rabbit, Whedon. And Abascal on the inside, along with Michael Hillard of Australia as we begin.
Well, as so often happens in indoor miles, the rabbit goes out much too fast. He's out there to help lower the wind resistance so the top runners can draft on him. And if he goes out fast, as he has done here, it does no good. He's got to slow up, and he's slowing up now, letting the field come back to him. The veteran John Walker, moving into second place, will try and direct him and mumble to him faster or slower, I guarantee you.
And that is Walker, who has moved into second place. Behind the rabbit, Whedon, Walker is second, and Abascal is currently third.
After 2 laps, they're on 4-minute mile pace. So if they keep up this pace, you'd expect to see him kick it in with a 56 or 55 and run about 3:55 for the mile, which seems to be the winning time that these runners have been locked into for the past 2 years.
1 minute flat, Marty, is the first split of the quarter. 60 seconds.
Perfect 4-minute mile pace, but this track is not used to seeing 4-minute miles. 5 of the top 12 times of all time have been run. 4 minutes on this track is nothing. as Steve Scott is way back in 5th place right now, but they've settled into a nice, comfortable pace, and anything around 2 minutes isn't slow enough for somebody to make a move. Steve Scott now moving into 4th.
Scott has now moved into 4th position, and they have 6.5 laps to go in the mile run at the San Diego Indoor game. Still to Rabbit Whedon, who has the lead. Walker in 2nd. Abascal is 3rd. Scott is 4th. And Hillard from Australia is 5th. And now it's O'Mara who begins to move up on the outside, and he moves into 5th position. Less than 6 laps to go.
Well, now the race starts. They're halfway through it. Now it starts. Mark Fricker is in last place right now, the redhead with a black and white vest. He's usually at the front of the action. He usually goes out fast, and he's not been able to get up to the front. He's trying to move up. Mike Hilgert of Australia trying to make a move, but right now Steve Scott in 4th place seems to be running a perfect race. Abascal, John Walker, they all got out very nicely, and O'Mara's got that finishing kick. He's in 5th place right now.
And at the half-mile mark, 1:59.3 was the split. Right now, 4 laps to go.
Well, O'Mara on the outside now with the green top in 4th place is not making the mistake he did up in Los Angeles. He's getting to the outside and covering his position.
Rabbit drops out. That's Walker with the lead, and Abascal in 2nd position. And they'll have 3 laps to go as they come across the start-finish line here. And Scott up on the outside is taking the lead with 3 laps to go, followed by Abascal and Walker. And O'Mara beginning to move up.
Here goes O'Mara covering the move nicely into 3rd place. Fricker running in 4th, whose opposite strategy could be a real breakthrough for him. But Steve Scott has said, tonight, it's my hometown, I want it. He's moved earlier than he has in the past this season. He must be over the flu he had. And Abascal, the bronze medalist, they're going to go right to the tape.
Lap and a half to go. 3 minutes and 9/10 of a second was the split at 3/4 of a mile. A lap to go as they come across this time with Scott and Abascal and O'Mara making it a 3-man race. The bell lap. Scott trying to hold on. A lot of his faithful here from Fallbrook, but here comes Abascal, who was overtaken in Los Angeles by O'Sullivan the other night, and this time he is the man who overtakes Scott. Scott trying to hold on now for 2nd as Abascal wins the race, and Scott holds on for 2nd place. O'Mara winds up 3rd. Unofficially, we have them at 4 minutes and 14/100ths of a second. But that unofficial clock is very far off. What we are now being told is closer to the official time at 3:56.3, and that does figure.
Well, Abascal has to be happy with that, and Steve Scott did what he hasn't done all year. He did it for the hometown fans. He went out and made a race of it.
All right, so Abascal winning the mile at the San Diego Indoor Track and Field Meet. Time permitting, we'll be back for more coverage from here, but right now to London we go for the fight, and Jim Lampley.